G'day, folks. AoS Coach here, and I have a new Battletome for you. That's right. Kharadron Overlords have a new Battletome for 4th edition, and descending from the Great Plains Barak himself is the Skymarshal Alex Cotter, who will have his guns blazing while we inspect all of the bolts and the rivets when it comes to the Kharadron Overlords Battletome. We will preview the new units. We will highlight the new, any of the rule changes, and there is a fair amount of rule changes. So forgive us if we miss a few of them. I've gone through this as best as possible, and we will, I'm sure, pick up a few extras along the way. For people who don't know who Alex is a wonderful KO general, being in the Great Plains Masters, doing incredibly well. He tells me, and the ITC tells me as well, that he has never crashed and burnt below a 4-1 record at a GT. So I am very, very curious to get under the hood of this new Battletome to see, are we loving boats? Are we loving infantry? What do these new units do? What does this terrain feature do? And how is a seasoned veteran thinking about it? Before we get started as well, I do want to let you know Games Workshop obviously did send this to me in advance. They won't see the book. And if you want to support the channel, as always, do check out the links down below, which is Warpfire Me's in the USA, Element Games in the UK, or Gap Games in Australia. They're my affiliate partners who help out the channel and keep all the bills paid. Alternatively, come help us over on Patreon or YouTube members. Cool. Alex, let's talk. KO, big fan. I can see the background. How have you felt and found this new book? And you've obviously had 12 months of the current General's Handbook, also the previous General's Handbook. What are you thinking so far?
I'm liking it. It's different, but I feel like every time KO gets a book, they just completely rework the army. But it's going to take a lot of getting used to. But between the new boats and the new infantry models they added, I'm super excited.
So when we say change, by the way, there's no new boats. Like there's new models, there's new hero. No, just in case people go like, oh my god, there's a new boat. No, guys, there isn't. I wish there was a new boat. That would be kind of cool. Although you kind of did get the Scourge of Gairan gun hauler, which I guess is kind of like a new boat.
Best unit in the book.
It's very good. It's very good. But Alex, when it comes to the changes, and we will get into all the weeds as always, are the changes fundamental changes as a KO player? Like, has it fundamentally shifted the way I play, the units I select, or is it a different style of KO, but it feels the same? Like, unpack that a little further for me.
It's fundamentally going to be different, mainly because our biggest survival tool was the redeploy, because a lot of times even I would give them first turn, I'd screen, and then my guys would go a minimum of, I think it was like 12 inches. And if you get into a boat, not a lot can kill a boat turn one. And if you do, you're still going to get hit. But now that I can't redeploy on their turn to take the guys, I'm going to have to rethink everything. Screens are going to be much more important.
All right. So we probably lose a few of the tricks that maybe kept us more survivable. I guess, anyway, we're getting into the weeds. I'm going to bring up the what's the thing you're most excited about?
The harpoon crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the 2d6 move it can make has a lot of play, and it's going to be so janky. I'm going to love it.
There's some interesting rules. There is some very interesting rules when you look at the terrain feature and the not manifestations. I'm going to call them manifestations. They're not, but they're basically manifestations. We have a whole new unit type now.
I love the way they look.
They are cool. The terrain features are interesting. You got 3 new units, so we got a hero and 2 troops, or 2 types of build. So anyway, let's stop teasing the folks and let's get straight into it. And we got 2 pages of updates here. So this is not story time with Coach. Otherwise, we're here for hours just talking about the change log. But Alex, maybe, and there's a second page as well, folks. There's a second page. So I might go through some of them and ask Alex, like, what are some of the biggest changes that you have noticed, and whether it's impacted on a positive, whether it is a fundamental, this unit was really great and now I'm not taking it as much, or hey, there's something really secret sauce here now with this particular unit. Go to it. Go to your first favorite unit. Do it. I know what you want to talk about. Go Arco.
Yes.
Let's start Arco Company. Oh, sorry, I haven't got it on the screen.
I was thinking, Will.
What a potato. Here you go. All right, yeah, go, Alex. No, all right, let's go. Page 1, Arco Company. Talk to me about it.
I'm so excited. I know a lot of people always kept telling me I should take them out of my list when I was running them, but they're just a cheap screen and did it. Honestly, I fought Night Haunt at the Great Plains. Best unit I had against them was this, because it was just buckets of dice. And I think they wiped out almost 15 or 20 blade geists by themselves over a couple of activations, but because they're not going to focus on them because they've got bigger problems, and they just were sitting there shooting them, and they all had shooting combat besides the big guns. But this new ability, I'm loving it.
Yeah, this is huge. I'm going to read it out for the folks who aren't paying attention. And I want you to unpack this, like what this really means. I agree with you. This is a really awesome rule, and I'm kind of scared about it. So, Arco Company, you did see some changes here with like the volley gun skyhook profiles now being combined. And you'll notice that there's a lot of simplicity now with they've combined weapons into like one statistic. So, in the example of Arco Company, the special weapons are now called the privateer heavy weapons. 15-inch range, 2 attacks, hits on 4s, wounds on 3s, Ren 1 for 2 damage. And you might remember in the past, it was like 1 in 10 could have this, 1 in 10 have that. Now it's just 2 in 10 can have the privateer heavy weapon. But the rule Alex is talking about that he is loving is the Grizzled Buccaneers. Once per turn, army any combat phase. Pick an enemy unit that has charged this turn and is in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 3+, this unit can immediately use a shoot ability as if it was your shooting phase, but all of the attacks must target the target enemy unit. Plus, for the rest of the phase, these units, privateers, heavy weapons, have shooting combat. So your generic shooting profile does have shooting combat. The heavy weapon, you don't. But with the 3+, you absolutely can shoot in combat. Alex, what does this actually mean on the table?
It means if you charge them on a 3-up, you're looking at, I think it's 40 some shots overall if they have a reinforced unit, which I plan to, because a lot of terrain nowadays has gaps in between, and I use them to screen. So if I have that, I mean, it's still 4s and 4s, no Ren 1 damage, but that's just, it's free damage. And it does technically say you're shooting as if it was your phase. So from my understanding, you can all out attack.
I don't see a reason why you wouldn't, because it's not a covering fire.
Right.
It's a as long as you roll the 3-up, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to use all out attack on that particular shot.
So I'm excited because I have done so much damage with those boys. People just don't expect 20 some dice coming at you.
That's really punishing for that's like anti-charge on steroids.
It's going to be the bane of Night Haunt's existence, because it's going to be whatever goes through is on a 4-up save. And
if you really want to double down, you could covering fire as well.
Yes.
So in preparation for the charge, you could cover fire. Then you could bank for the 3-up and just absolutely obliterate or change someone's path of their course.
Yes, I love it.
All right.
And I will say my favorite part, is that it doesn't say immediately after charge, so they can't just send something in. It's as soon as all the charges are done.
Yeah, it is a charge phase ability, it's a combat phase ability, not a charge phase ability. So charge phase has to have happened. Obviously, your opponent will get to do their abilities first. So as long as they don't have mortals on the charge or some type of shenanigans, you're about to blast them away.
Yes.
Brutal. Put them aside for a second. What else on this page really stands out for you?
Drecky Flint, I love him. I have never not run him. He's what got me into the army, or at least helped me play it more. I'm a little sad about the 2 Ren, but I'm excited about the 3 damage. But his biggest change is I love to send him into monsters, because and now that it's an any combat phase ability, it's so much better, because most of the time you killed all the monsters you got into combat with.
Yeah, and I know you and I were talking about the Drekkie change where it says change to the A-sling. I just want to clarify the rule is exactly the same. It's now just specifically calling out the boarding weapons. Like it's a language change, nothing more. For me, like the Etheric Navigator really stood out for me on this particular page with the reading of the wins. I don't know if you felt the same, or like for me that seemed like a big win.
It is, but I miss it because that was how I got an extra 3 inches of movement. So, and I don't believe you can take any units with it when it goes up.
I'm just
Except
reading.
himself.
Yeah, that it doesn't appear so. Maybe in the future we will have worked out a rule, or maybe it's clarified, but it doesn't appear so at this point.
No, because like I if it had the move tag, maybe, because then it would be amazing. But the problem is right now you're just moving just the boat.
Could be get a nice get out of jail free card, maybe when you drop some your Arco company down and then you move your boat somewhere else. But
Yeah,
it's not like busted, broken. Oh my god! But I do like the ability a lot.
I do too.
Anything else that stood out? We do have another page, by the way, and we can go through a whole bunch of things like the Arco Admiral again. I didn't mind the flagship change.
Yes, I love the Arcanaut Admiral. And then I was going to say, I love the Endrin Master Endrin Harness, the II Captain not requiring a dice roll, because I can't tell you how you never got it when you needed it.
It's always the case. It's always the case. Like it's like on a 3-up, you go roll the 1 every single day of the week.
On a 3-up, you'll fail 99% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. There was another thing that really stood out for me. I didn't mind the Aether-Khemist, and this is the challenge with KO, right? Is you are blessed with heroes. You are blessed with so many heroes, and they all have really good abilities. You just can't take them all, so it's always like picking and choosing. But that atmospheric isolation, which was a passive -1 to charge rolls for enemy units within 9 inches of this unit. I didn't mind it, especially if you weren't going to go with the Arco company because you want them to charge, like you want to blast them away. But if you're not building into that, I actually didn't mind that particular rule.
My thinking behind that was like I have a couple lists in mind where it's basically more infantry based. That's where you'd see it. I don't think you'd see it as much if you're running a boats. But if you're running all infantry, I could see you sticking that over by some of your heroes, just trying to keep them from getting charged.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Was there any abilities that were lost that really make you cry? Like, the Arco Admiral has lost always take what you are owed. I can see Endrin Master Dirigible Suit has lost by Grumdy. I have my own, my Iron U. Anything like that, like even like the Arco company loosening the Glory Seekers.
I'm gonna miss Glory Seekers because I loved it on our Covering Fire because you still got the +1 to hit as long as they charged on that objective. But I think they more than make up for it with Grizzled Buccaneers.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Glory Seekers and Grizzled Buccaneers
It will be too
good. And what I can tell you, folks, is I do have the points for KO. I can't put them on screen, unfortunately. Go check out Warcom when they're out. But what I can tell you is at this particular moment, Arco Company are not going up in points at all. So they are
probably a bunch.
Yeah, so I can tell you right now, like just on this particular page, the Admiral went down 10 points. Drekkie went up 10 points. The Endrin Masters all went down 10 points. And then there's the new units that we'll talk about at a particular time. But from what I could see, nothing else had changed points-wise, which should hopefully help you put the context of changes here. Alex, any other final comments on this particular page before we go to the other set of changes?
Always take Drekkie, no matter what people tell you.
Drekkie's good. I think we were both calling it out like, "Ooh, this is
people kept telling me to cut it, but I can't tell you how many times I've won games because Drekkie Flint gets to re-roll a counter charge. And I don't think there's very many ways to do that.
Yeah, this is the problem. Oh, and by the way, sorry, something to call out as well. You'll notice that some of them have also snuck in a combination with the terrain feature. So, for example, the Endrin Master with dirigible suit, and as well as the Endrin Master with the harness. You can see that the Endrin Master with the mobile repairs is now repairing both sky vessels and the docking station. So, FYI. All right, let's go to the other page. I feel like I've tapped Alex at this point. The other changes here, so you can now start seeing, and this is the interesting one. I've been looking forward to discussing this with you. It's the Ironclad Frigate, Endrin Riggers, Sky Wardens, Gun Hauler, Thunderers have all changed. I didn't notice anything on Brock, so Brock remains unchanged. I'm going to start the conversation with the changes to your frigates and your ironclads. Specifically, you'll notice that they've lost a little bit of health. So the ironclad dropped 2 points of health. So now was 20, now 18. The frigate went down 1 health. So it used to be 15, now 14. But it's gained +1 save. So it's gone from a 3-up save to a base of 2-up save. So it's not a +1. It's just it's now base 2-up. Talk to me here about the impacts of this, because I could see some people thinking, I lost some health. On the other hand, we're like, now we're on +2, we're on a 2+ save, and we can probably mitigate some damage.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so much. People had trouble killing my boats anyway. The only unit I've found that doesn't really is Stormcast. I think it's Soulsworn or whatever that do mortals, but they're the only ones that I've had just 1 tap a boat. Everything else, I've had it tank ogres 1,000 points for a turn or 2 before it dies. And now I don't know if they'll kill it, because I was still saving on 4s with an all-out defense. Now I'm saving on 3s. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, this is, as an opponent to KO, this is bad news for me. I would happily have you with the extra health with the minus to save, the 2-up save on the ironclad, the 2-up save on the frigate. Even like, and I know, well, on the point of saves, your Endrin Riggers are now on 3-ups. So your Sky Wardens are on 3-ups. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hot. Even the Gun Hauler is now a 2-up save. Now that makes me reach. Now this isn't the soggy update, folks. So this is purely your traditional Battletome. It did lose 2 points of movement, so your Gun Hauler is now a move of 12, not 14. But it's a 2-up save. And I don't see any point adjustments on any of the boats. And I think this is a massive win. Huge win.
I agree. I am sad they combined the profiles, because I played KO in 2nd edition where you had like 17 different guns to pick from per unit. But having 6 shots on the ironclad is going to be terrifying, because the Admiral can make it once per game 7. That's just insane.
Good call out. So the similar to what I just spoke about on the other page, you will notice a lot of those combinations. So it doesn't matter if you take the Skyhawk or the Sky Cannon or the volley gun, you will notice that a lot of the profiles have been simplified, and you'll notice that it doesn't matter what you load it out with. It is now just in the example of the Ironclad, it's the Great Sky Ordnance. With the frigate, it's the Heavy Sky Ordnance. And then the Gun Hauler, it's just the Sky Ordnance. So, for example, your Ironclad, you can see there, 24 inches, 6 attacks, hits on 4s, wounds on 2s, 2 points of Ren for 3 damage. Obviously, it's also tied in with your battle damage, and that reduces depending on if you've taken damage points. Is that a bad thing? Like, for me, I like the simplicity, and I like that. For me, I don't have to worry about going to a tournament, trying to work out what's the best weapon and the matchups and what I need. I can also see some people not liking the lack of customization and being big fans of one particular style.
Yeah. I can see it on both sides. Like, I'm sad personally, but like I said, I just like to have the options. But all in all, I think it's probably better for the game, because it's still, sometimes in my shooting phase, takes a while, especially when you're running like anything with multiple types of guns. Like, okay, I have to measure from this gun specifically to here, and then from here to here. And then you got to remember which one's which. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, when you had like 15-inch range and 12-inch range and 9-inch range, it's just like, oh my God, just hurry up. Just shoot me.
That's what my opponent said.
Just shoot me already. Come on, dude. Anything else that stood out for you? Obviously, look, anything else from a boat perspective? Like, there's some interesting things there, right? And I want to talk about the Great Endrin work in a second, because we'll get to that. It's lost the Great Endrin work technically, but also not technically. I guess it's a minus when you think about the Sky Vessel stuff we just got from Soggy, and I'll explain more in a minute.
It's more of a side grade, honestly. Not even an upgrade or a downgrade. It's just sideways.
Well, it's probably a downgrade when you think about it, because I get currently I get my Great Endrin work on the Ironclad, and then I still get to benefit from a Sky Vessel upgrade. So I would technically get 2. So it's kind of like probably a loss, a temporary loss.
It depends. Like, I'm not currently running any Ironclads, so for me, it's a gain because I don't get it on that boat. And I believe you can put them on gun haulers as well if you need to.
Yeah, we'll get to Great Endrin. I'm just talking about the.
Oh yeah,
yes, yeah. Like the Great Endrin work today. Yeah, it's probably a slight downgrade, but when we show you what's coming up, it's probably maybe a net positive.
Although it was always fun to have the Ironclad unbind somebody.
That was funny. Indeed, that was funny. What else? Like anything else from the boats? I think the frigate was certainly interesting. Like when you
look between I'm very sad. I think it's sad. The saddest thing for me is the -2 move, because having a minimum on turn 1 15-inch up to 23-inch move was way different than having a maximum 16-inch move.
Yeah, it does make things a little harder, but
I think all in all, it's probably healthier for the game that I can't go across the entire board turn 1.
Probably. What about our balloon boys, our Endrin riggers, and our Sky Wardens? So we can see here we've got obviously the 3-up safe now, so they're both now base 3, which is great. I'm also not seeing any points changes as well, folks. You did see some tweaks there with like the Athematic Saw is now flat 2 rend, has gained anti-charge, and is flat 2 damage. Sky Wardens did lose the crit mortals though, so it's not all amazing. You did get +1 to the charge though on Sky Wardens.
I don't know if we'll be taking them now, just because everyone seems to have such really good armor saves, like the metas like Stormcast, Slaves. 1 rend just doesn't do much. What their big value was crit mortals. I know they can nope out of combat, but I can tell you on one hand the number of times that's succeeded, and it's 1. They usually just fail it every time.
Yeah, the Endrin riggers with anti-charge is an interesting one. I feel like it's a role that I wanted them to have anti-charge, and I guess with I don't know, for me, it's interesting. It's an interesting change, and I don't know how I feel about the Endrin riggers.
I think they're going to be more defensive now. Because, like, if you put them next to a boat, obviously they're -1 to hit. And that, like we said earlier, the +1 save is huge on them.
Yeah, maybe that's where the -1 that we were just talking about on the other page, in combination with now a 3-up armor save and anti-charge. My only question, though, is like, are you just better off having the Arco company? And like, if you're looking at all these points and investments, like, are you better off just having this much more wounds? Yes, like not as much save. It's definitely interesting. It is.
It's going to take a lot of figuring out, and I can't wait to do it.
What about the Thunderers? Like we spoke very highly of the Arco company, but we got the Thunderers as well, had a lot of changes. You can see they've gained this new rule called Specialist. I'm not going to say that. Is it gunstock ammunition?
Yeah, gunstock ammunition.
I'm pretty sure I probably missed a space there, but anyway.
It's insane. I think it's just crazy, because control characteristic on most models is 1 or 2. If it has a ward, you just don't get a ward. Or I think a 10 block could probably do 15 damage to a Gargant. So you could make its control score 1, and then you just sit on it and take it, and there's nothing they can do about it.
I really like the other one, the Shield Breaker. Those rolls cannot be made. Like this, so especially like there's that one battle plan right now where you can get +1 to ward saves if you're the underdog. I played against Khorne with Bloodthirsters on 4-ups. Like it was just absolutely
every time I fought on that, we both laughed because neither of us had wards.
But it's awesome, right? Because anyone with a 6-up ward, you just straight up remove their wards to all your deaths and things like that. Anyone who's getting a whole bunch of like 5-ups, you're now 6-up, so Nurgle is much more achievable to defeat. And Not bad at all.
Yeah. I definitely think you're going to see at least all lists running, I think at least 5, just because they can be taken by a gun hauler, and you can just put them down, shoot, and then charge.
I could definitely see that world as well. I would probably build like a whole bunch of reinforced units, maybe one if you have a specific game plan, but I don't
The
mind.
problem is once per turn army, so you can't do it multiple places.
No, but like reinforcing it, like, do you really want to?
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have multiple 5-man units running around. Let's say I had some, maybe I don't know.
But I thought with the 5-man is the gun hauler can take them, so you don't have to invest in a boat, a bigger boat.
Yeah, that's fair. That I could see that. Yes, I could definitely see that. Any final comments? We got a whole bunch of extra stuff to talk about, Alex.
I'm excited for the 2-up save. That's just the biggest thing.
It's huge. It's massive. And it's massive because you can spend a command point to still do all-out defense and negate rend 1. You can not spend a command point and reinvest it somewhere else. Maybe it's that all-out attack in the combat phase with the Arco company. Or maybe it just changes, like you can be a bit more aggressive now, knowing that it's got a base 2-up save and you can run multiple gun haulers, for example, now.
I can't wait to play around with it.
All right, let's get into the other rules. So there's been some minor tweaks here, although when I say minor, they may still have a big impact. So you see fly high, that's not really that big of a change. It's just that is it yet anyway. I don't know why. This is a one word. Cool. The biggest impact, though, is clearly going to be transport Skyfarers and what Alex was kind of alluding to a little earlier about the power through. So it has changed to be your movement phase. It's still a reaction. It's still based on a non-charge move ability. And it's also added, you can see here, the and not in combat. So, Alex, you referred to a little bit already about power through. Step back for a second. Let's step away from power through. What does this mean for me as a KO general in general?
Our army is nowhere near as safe, and it's going to be so much harder to or easier to catch us than it was before, because we could screen so well with just a unit, or even fight. You can get stuck in combat now, because a lot of times you yank guys out. Like if they don't pull the boat in, you could just fly away and yank them out, and you can't do that now.
Why can't I? Just for the folks who are not connecting the dots just yet, why can't I?
Because it says and not in combat to be the targets, which sucks.
Yeah. So you've really got to think about committing and how you protect your army. And again, this kind of goes probably partially why we're both big fans of the Arcanaut company, because you've got a really nice get out of jail, because you're about to obliterate them on the charge, and then hopefully you do enough damage to either get yourself out of combat or be able to clean them up, or at least like you're not going to suffer a lot of damage when they're stuck in combat.
Yes.
What about the impacts to your movement phase? So it's now specific to your movement phase rather than just a declaration of a non-charge move.
You can no longer yank them through with power through for multiple reasons. You can no longer redeploy, and I think that is the biggest setback we're going to have to work around.
So when you say work around, unpack that more for me. So how does that change your play style? Do you think this changes your list construction? Does it?
Yes.
Talk to me.
The entire game plan I have of staying alive is based around that ability right there. Because depending if you know you're going to get got into turn 1, I'm looking at you slaves players. You set one unit off the board, you put whatever else down, and you just have that one boat, and they're not going to catch it because you can redeploy. They might catch the boat itself, but they're not going to catch the guys, because I think the max you can redeploy is like 18 inches with the boat boys. If you roll a 6, it's ridiculous. But now you can't do that.
So basically, sorry, keep going.
You have to be a lot more careful where you place everybody, because they're stuck there.
Cool. That was basically what I was going to say, is that you need to now think about your positioning, and you have less of these get out of jail free cards where in the past, you could, drop some bodies out of a boat. You could, use your shooting attacks to shoot at your opponent, and then you'd have a couple of get out of jail free cards in the past using the Transport Skyfarer's ability. We talked about Power Through, we talked about Redeploy. There's a whole bunch of little things you could possibly do to get your traditionally not very good armor save. Like, I don't want to call you Glass Cannon. You're definitely not Glass Cannon, but you don't like to be in yep. Once you're in combat, once I get you into combat, I'm feeling good. It's always been, can I just chase you down? If I can pin you, I'm feeling good. You now have less opportunities to get out of those pinning situations. So you need to think about your positioning, thinking about risk versus reward with where you shoot and how much risk you put your models in, and be more, I guess, more worrying about things like countercharging. And there's probably a lot of impacts this is going to have as the game unfolds.
Yes. It's like I said, I've got to rethink my lists and the way I play entirely.
Does this ruin KO?
No. It just means we have to play more fair.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Send a memo over to the Pope, the soggy Pope over in Cities of Sigmar.
I say play more fair, like we don't have other rules that also break the game.
Yeah, God bless you. But cool. All right, Skyfarers, we talked about it. It is what it is. I think we just need to think about it, and I think you're going to spend a little bit of time trying to work through how this now plays out. And again, probably the hint here that both Alex and I are sharing is just to be more conservative. You don't have as many get out of jail free cards.
The other thing is, I also thought about is you can still power through with the boat. So like you could take a unit in, drop them off, let them fight, power out, and like basically reload guys back into it and do it again. That's another idea I had.
Something we can all explore and play around with. And hey,
try.
Come chat in Discord. I'm sure plenty of you are going to be trying to crack the code. Yes, I intended to say that. Boom. Speaking of code cracking and opening the Battletome, we've got some tweaks to the battle formation, and probably more than just a tweak. You'll see some have been lost, some have been replaced, and you've now seen that, look, Endrin Riggers Guild has a tweak here, and it does say that the target can be in reserve. Not a huge, like, it's a nice to have, not a huge impact. But we've probably got 3 battle formations that are worth reconsidering, and probably also it means we've lost 3, right? So Pioneers and Scavengers is a passive ability where friendly Vongrim Harpoon Crew and the Vongrim Scavengers, it's too early for me, have a ward of a 6+ while they're contesting an objective. We have the Rapid Redeployment Squadron, where friendly Grundstock gun haulers can transport up to 2 friendly Kharadron Overlords units instead of 1. And the model count can be up to 6 instead of 5. And then finally, we have the Veteran Ground Troops, where once per battle in your shooting phase, pick up to 3 friendly Arcanor Company units to be the target. For the rest of the battle round, if the target has not been set up this battle round, and while it's not moved this turn, subtract 1 from the Ren characteristic for attacks that target this unit. Alex, first and foremost, what did we lose? So what are the battle formations we lost to get these new ones?
Honestly, the only one that anyone ever took was the +2 movement on their boats. Like, I've talked to many people, and it's just 2 inches doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're over the course of a game and turn 1, I've lost games because I can't go an extra inch. It's going to be rough.
So we've lost the Iron Sky Attack Squadron, we've lost the Grun Corps Wings, and we've also lost the Aether Runners. They were the 3 battle formations that you had that are no longer in existence. Yeah, I think it's that the fastest vessel of the fleet, that +2 to move is.
It meant you had a 16-inch move on your new gun haulers and a 14-inch move on your bigger boats.
Makes that frigate change even harder, right? It lost 2 on the War Scroll, and now you don't have this as well. So you've essentially lost 4 inches of movement if that was your play style.
Because like basically the maximum I can move now is the minimum I used to be able to move. So it's going to take a lot of tweaking and relearning.
let's unpack some of these, right? And I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think let me look at it. Let me re-look at. Look, the Grun set. Sorry, the Grun Corp wing, the plus 3-inch range for your Thunderers and your Gun Haulers. Yeah, I mean 3 inches at 3 inches, right? Like for those, like, did you have that many people building around Thunderers and Gun Haulers?
You took the boat. You just took the extra 2 inches of the boat because you basically get an extra 2 inches instead of 1 because you could move farther, and it also meant like on a power through or anything you could go even farther. So you just took that.
The Iron Sky attack squadron, ignoring the first points of damage for each friendly sky vessel. I've seen that played a lot, and I think those types of people who were very boat heavy.
Yeah, if you have no infantry, that was great.
Or even if you had like, double ironclads. I've seen some of those lists firing double ironclads. Like that was a delicious battle formation.
They were hard to kill before.
And yeah. Let's talk about some of these new stuff, right? And it's a little hard without talking about the new war scrolls. We will get to them at some point. They're just general, first and foremost, around the pioneers and scavengers type 6-up ward. Nice, contesting objectives. Okay.
I like that one. I think I'll be using that one or the Endrin Guild because a lot of battle plans you can deploy on an objective and they'll make a very good screen if they have a 6-up ward just sitting there.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty obvious, right? Like you just got to build around those particular units. So it's nice. The rapid redeployment squadron, so being able to transport 2 KO infantry units and being able to pick 6 models, not 5. So any thoughts there?
I also thought about this one because it lets you pull, like you could still do the assault boat in and excuse me. Whenever it goes to move, if the new gun haulers can yank out of combat, that is like the rule specifically stated, you could use them to get guys out of combat. That would be the only time I could see you taking this, because if you're running a reinforced unit, it's 6.
Yeah, and maybe it's some type of combination between the engine riggers and the rapid redeployment squadron, and maybe it is having... It's like an Uber driver just going around dropping 2 units of 3 here's and there's, and maybe that's the style. Is you got, I don't know, 3 gun haulers, and you've got a bunch of like 3-man units of engine riggers, and they're going around dropping things on objectives or being annoying. But anti-charge, the 3-up save, maybe.
I don't know. It's like I said, we're going to see how it plays out.
This one isn't as obvious to me. I'm looking at it going, like, I'm sure there's some real aether chemist out there who's going to cook something up with this. This is not as obvious to me. And I'm like, because like I can't even reinforce. I can reinforce.
That's why I was saying you could reinforce and then get them in combat and have the boat behind them. Because when the boat moves, they could yank them out and then you could assault boat them back in. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to get them out.
Yeah, because you can't reinforce a unit of 5 without this ability. So, yeah.
But I will say, I don't think it'll matter as much either, because usually if they go in, if they don't kill what they're touching, you're going to lose at least 1 model.
True. Yeah, true. I guess you wouldn't be able to get them in first and foremost.
Yeah.
Okay. Some food for thought. It's not quite as obvious to me just yet. Let's go to the other new one, and then we'll loop back to the Engineers Guild. The veteran ground troops. So once per battle, your shooting phase. That's the Arco one. Do we like this in addition to the changes with the Arco company?
If it lasted until your next turn, I would like it more, because basically they have to get, since it's in your shooting phase and they can't move, because the charges, from what my understanding, if they charge, they've considered moving, correct?
But we don't want to charge with Arco company, do we? We want to blast them off when they charge us. Yeah,
right. But this buff only that's what I mean. You lose 1 rend when attacking them, so they have to be in combat for the buff to be good.
Once per battle, your shooting phase, pick 3 Arco company for the rest of the battle round. It's only a once per battle, okay.
Yeah.
If the target has not been set up this battle round, and while it is not moved, subtract 1 from rend for attacks that
target boost out.
Yeah,
you I don't know. I just don't. If it's only once per battle, I don't see it because it just means once per game, 3 units of Arcanut Company are ignore 1 rend for that turn. Because I guess you technically could move because it says this turn you haven't moved.
So maybe it's the top of the battle round. Let's say it's where it's at critical turn 2 or turn 3, depending on how the game's going. I've got my Arco companies on objectives. I know that my opponent is about to charge me. I won the priority roll. It's the top of the turn. I'm set up, ready to embrace. I'm holding objectives. I then know my opponent is going to take the turn. So in a top of the turn 3, I call the entrenched crews. Then my opponent takes the bottom of the turn. Then they're going to charge me. I didn't technically move. I can then still cover fire. Obviously, I don't redeploy, but I cover fire, then potentially go for that 3-up Buccaneers rule. And then still, when they go in for combat, they're going to be -1 rend.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm playing this out in my head as you guys can see it, so I can see where it's going with this.
I think you'd rather have one of the others because that one, it's going to be great that one turn, but we haven't showed him yet, but our artifacts are so good. I think most people are going to go for this one.
With the veteran ground troops or the guild?
The guild.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So we get the extra artifact. It hasn't changed. It's now just you can put it on someone who's on reserve. So, and again, we haven't talked about the new units as well. We haven't showed you the terrain feature, so that'll come very, very soon. Let's go through this. You have new heroic traits. So all 3 of them are new. So what did we lose? We lost Cunning Fleet Master, Endrin Maestro, and Grudge Bearer. Yes. Any of those to you make you cry that you've lost them?
Honestly, I didn't take it very much, but my favorite one to play with was Grudge Bearer because you could put it on. I think it was the dude with the dirigible shoot, and then you have like a 6 damage shot. It was just really fun. But the other 2 I could live with them or without them. Like the redeploy was nice early game when you're all clumped up, but then because it's such a short range, and I honestly just left him behind all the time. So I think the new ones are better.
Yeah, okay. There's some use. I can see Cunning Fleet Master being one that people are upset with. Obviously, Endrin Maestro having the +2 to the range weapons would have been nice. But understand. So what you've gained is Shrewd Opportunist, Combat Grafter, and Bold as Brass. So Shrewd Opportunist, deployment phase, if pick this unit and up to 2 other friendly KO non-hero infantry units to be target. Each target can move, immediately use the normal move as if it was your movement phase.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most excited for.
Why?
Because 1, you could position in a way that your opponent thinks you'll be in one place. And if you put it like any of the Balloon Boys, they have a huge move for infantry. And you could just be halfway across there. Or if you're going first, you could immediately move up. And then you're really close. And you can start the battle on the middle objectives. So you don't have to actually end the turn on them.
Yeah, when you say Balloon Boys, that now also includes both of the Vongrim units as well, being both balloon people.
Anything that's not the foot guys. They're all super fast.
Yeah, 12-inch move, free move is so good.
Oh, it's lovely.
Combat Grafter is a once per battle, any combat phase, and this unit can use 2 fight abilities this phase. After the first one, its second one is Strike Last. That's nice. I don't know if I'd ever take that personally.
We'll say, I know that they've ruled it this way for, I don't remember what army it was, that can give itself fight first, but then fight last. You technically still have fight first. So if you assault boat a guy in with this, he'll get to fight first, and then he'll lose the fight first, even after he's used it when he gains strike last. So he'll get to fight at normal activation.
Right.
So technically, you could fight first, fight again.
I would need to look at FAQs. Let's.
I had it ruled against me in a tournament, and that was just the way I was playing it, or I was told.
Yeah.
So
I'll get that one clarified, or at least submit some requests for that one. But not saying you're wrong. Just especially like how they'll work together.
Yeah, because technically, I believe if you have fight first and you gain fight last, it cancels each other out.
Yes,
and you don't gain the strike last keyword until you activate this ability.
yes.
But you have the fight first ability the entire time.
That sounds right in theory. I'd have to go to the tapes to look at the exact wording of the rules. But yes, right now, it sounds correct right now.
That's just, like I said, that's how they were explaining it to me, because it didn't make any sense to me either. I'm like, it shouldn't work that way because you already fought. But
I say this because I don't want people going around to tournaments saying, this is what they said on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Go check with your local TO or let's get a clarification. Right now, that sounds correct, Alex. That sounds correct. And very specific use case. Like, I don't think most generals are going to take combat grafter without, I think that particular assault boat is like the single specific reason why you would take this, because otherwise I don't understand why you would take it if you weren't building into the assault boat.
You have to build into the assault boat. And the biggest problem I have is most heroes that are, I think, the best fighty heroes, are almost the unique ones. So you can't take it.
Which is a shame then that you've also then lost your Grudge Bearer, because then that would have,
Grudge Bearer was so much fun.
Well, technically you couldn't have Grudge Bearer and Combat Grafters, don't at me.
No, I just meant.
No, you, the internet. The internet, don't at me. You can't do both. And then finally you got Bold as Brass, so add 5 to this unit's control score. Pretty obvious.
Yeah. I don't see why you'd ever take this. It's like, I feel like most of the games I come down to, people aren't contesting objectives. They're killing everything on it and then taking it.
I'm sure there's some niche situation where the +5 will be important. But right now, would I choose my one and only hero trait for that? Probably not.
No.
Not right now. Maybe there's a good reason. All right. I probably agree with you. Shrewd opportunist does sound really good. Unless I'm going into like a boat build.
Right.
Artifacts. So we're not going to talk about Scourge of Ghyran. They're not in the Battletome, but they're there just for flavor. What you do have is you have some tweaks here. So we did lose an artifact. So we did lose the Burst Grenade still there, but it's just tweaked to be once per turn.
That.
Yeah. So instead of it being a once, I'm just going to triple check the Battletome here. But you can see there it says the Celestium Burst Grenade is now a once per turn ability. Yep, not triple checking it here. Once per turn, you're shooting face. So Burst Grenade is now not a once per battle. Huge upgrade.
That is a huge upgrade. That artifact has won me so many games. Like, oh, Bellicor doesn't have a ward. Or my personal favorite, hey, Archeon, you don't have a ward. You just die now.
Yeah. So it's now once per turn. I'll talk to you about the impacts of that in a second. Actually, let's sit on it. You like it. It's great. It means we can use it multiple times.
It was one of the best artifacts in the book, because especially with death being prevalent, Stormcast can only give out like 1 ward a turn, maybe 2. I still hate them. It was just fun. Like, that just doesn't get a ward.
So be kind to me now. So you lost the Blazebeard and Sons Drac Hobbler Mag Bolus.
Yes.
In its place, you have now gained the Blazebeard and Sons Bamboozling Flak Gun,
which is infinitely better.
So you've lost your any once per battle, any shooting and combat phase ability that targeted an enemy monster. Now you have gained a once per turn reaction where an opponent declared a charge ability for a unit within 12 inches of this unit. Pick 1 dice in that charge roll, then make a bamboozling flak roll of d6. If the roll equals or exceeds the value of the dice, remove that dice from the charge roll. What does that mean, Alex? Play it out for me. You and I are battling. I've rolled my dice. What does this mean?
It means, like, let's say you need a 9-inch charge, and you roll a 6 and a 3. If I can just pick that 3 and roll higher than it, you have a 6-inch charge.
Well, yeah, actually, you can roll a 3 as well. So it's equal.
Oh, or exceeds.
Yeah,
better.
Yeah,
that's gonna be so. People are gonna hate that.
That is the number one artifact. Like, as much as I like Burst Grenade.
Well, you got to remember. I should have talked about. You get to pick one. if you can take that sub-faction, you get to pick one at the start of the game for a second hero. We did talk about it.
We did talk about it. I guess the question then is like, what's the one you take first? And I think for
Blazebeard.
Agreed. Like, because I do this in Suns as well. Like, right, what's the number one artifact I'm always going to use? And I think for me, it is the flat gun. And then, depending on the situation, do I need more Voidstone Orb? Do I need more Burst Grenade?
Yes, I absolutely agree, because they're always going to be charging you. I can't tell you how many times I brought that, and the ward just never shows up because you never fight anyone. Or Voidstone Orb, you fight no one with wizards.
Yeah. Like, that... I was just triple checking it didn't have anything about priests or anything. No, it's still just purely, like we just talked about like the vulnerabilities now of the transport farers. This helps you a little. This helps you, especially on that high value boat with friends.
Yes,
like to me, like that gives me the protection that I needed, because I'm now likely going to stop charging.
My only question, you may understand it's better. If they re-roll it, they would get to roll 2 dice, correct? Because it's only for that roll. It's so clear.
So from my understanding, and I did a little bit of a clarification here, and so bear with me here. So, Alex, you and me are playing. I'm playing Suns. I'm going to smash it with my 2d6. I roll my charge roll. Then I have the reaction ability to then re-roll it. It's in my before you intercept, I have the chance. It's my turn. I get to re-roll. If I choose not to re-roll, I pass, and then you get to do a reaction. Because when we got 2 reactions, I will get my reaction first. So I pass on re-rolling.
Okay.
Then hold on. Then Alex goes, well, I'm going to trigger my Blazebeard. Because I then can still do a reaction, I could then re-roll one of the dice. So if you take me down from 2 dice to 1, I could then still do a re-roll on that single dice, because while I passed on the reaction, I still am eligible for a second reaction.
Okay.
But if I re-roll the 2 dice and you take me down to 1, I clearly cannot re-roll again. I can only re-roll once.
Okay.
That is my understanding, talking to some of our rules lawyer friends. That's my understanding of how the double reactions will work.
Okay. That makes it infinitely better than what I was thinking. So I'm either going to
like would I spend a command point, and like, for example, that 9-inch charge you were just talking about, you just straight away take anything that's like beyond 7 inches, like you've now completely stopped me from charging. Would I re-roll a 6-inch charge when I've only got 1 dice? Like the odds, like wasting the command point. That's why, like, for me, this is a top artifact.
Oh, this is amazing and terrifying at the same time.
It is terrifying. I'm going to bring Trachnos to my next battle just to get that extra dice. So we've also got now. this is a dog's breakfast. All right. The other part here, strap in, folks. All right, I'm stretching out here. So you've got the Sky Vessel upgrades. Now, that's a soggy update that's here for 12 months, and it's going to give us both things. In the Battletome, you now have Great Endrin Works, not to be confused with the Great Endrin Works that currently exist on the Ironclad. We remember the Ironclad no longer has a Great Endrin Work on its War Scroll. So we have these basically boat artifacts. I'm going to call them at this point now boat artifacts. Rules is written today, you get both. I would not be surprised in the first week or as soon as possible, Games Workshop will say they are the same thing. You only get one.
Yeah.
So if you happen to play the book based on my video, you can enjoy both for like as long as possible, but then know that this is a short-term thing, and I would be very confident that you only get one. Just to put, because don't look like, oh, but I'm allowed to have 1 Sky Vessel and 1 Endrin. Yes, technically, yes, it'll happen. I'm very confident in that one.
Yeah, I am too. That would be way too good, because I mean, you could have up to 3 if they gave you that.
I don't see a world where they intended this to happen. So I'm going to assume, and if I'm wrong, I'm cool. I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I want to set the tone and just the expectation that you're probably only going to get one. So let's talk about these boat upgrades, specifically the Battletome. So the Battletome has given you 6 boat upgrades. You have Hexen's Solution, which is a passive unit, gets a ward of 5+ against damage inflicted by shooting. You have the Trace Fire rounds. In your shooting phase, as a reaction, you declare shoot for this unit. And if all of the attacks target the same enemy unit, ignore negative modifiers to hit rolls for those attacks. You have the Coldbeard's Collapsible Bomb Rack, where it's a passive ability. Add 1 to each dice roll when using this unit's heavy bomb racks, medium bomb racks, or light bomb racks ability. You have the Grugson Wide Bore Cylinders, where passively adding 2 to the unit's movement characteristic. You have the Grandiose Fuselage, which adds 5 to the unit's control score characteristic. And then the Nullstone Galvanation, where end of any turn, inflict D6 mortal damage on each enemy manifestation unit that's in this combat range. A lot going on there.
Yes.
Let's talk specifically about the 6. And if you enjoy the 3 from Scourge, cool. You play with it already. Enjoy it. Have fun. Be free. It's there temporarily.
Battle Ram OP.
Battle Ram is great. What stands out from you from the 6? And then I'll wrap it up at the end as like, for the next 12 months, what do we pick? But what stands out from you from the Battletome?
Well, since we get the new ship upgrade, or I forgot what they called, the flagship upgrade, I am super excited for Tracer Fire rounds and the Grugson Wide Bore Cylinders. I think the Tracer rounds in some armies are just going to be the best thing ever, because you're hitting on 4s. And if you're taking an Ironclad, you take this 100% of the time, because if anyone has cover or -1 to hit, which a lot of armies just get, doesn't matter. You're just always hitting on 4s.
Yeah.
Or 3s.
Like I said,
go ahead.
No, keep going.
I was like, because you can all out attack and still ignore that. Since you ignore it, you go to 3s. So 3s and 2s, 2 rend, 3 damage, 6 shots is kind of nasty.
I was just thinking about the flagship ability, because flagship is chosen in deployment and not army construction.
Yes.
So what makes it really interesting is, like, if you go up against, I don't know, Lumineth or some type of heavy shooting, you can pull out for the flagship maybe that the hull plates, right? The old reliable hull plates for the 5+ ward against shooting. And then equally, you might turn on the +2 to move on the flagship. Where it's like, what do I need all the time? And I guess for me, if I was to choose something, it was like always on my boat. The +2 to move, I think, is fantastic. Yeah. What else would I pick? Like, the manifestation ones are nice to have, but probably not always. Although, like most armies right now, especially, you're seeing most armies are getting manifestations. Possibly, I could see that being used consistently. The Tracer Fire round racks.
I think it's just so good.
Yeah, that one I could see being used consistently. And then there's a lot of nice to haves. Like,
unfortunately, you can't use it with. I don't believe you can use it with covering fire, since it says your shooting phase. But
no,
that'd be way too hard. Oh yeah, I'm hitting on 4s. But like I think that's the best one.
Which one? Sorry,
the Tracer Fire rounds.
Interesting. I probably would have gone the cylinders, the +2 to move.
I like it because your boats are super fast. That also gets around Lookout, Sir. So you can, like, those cannons will kill small heroes.
Yeah.
And then that means you could be hitting heroes on 3s and 2s, 2 rend, 3 damage.
It's a lot of firepower.
That's a lot of firepower.
Like,
hero.
Like, I'm thinking about, like, now that you've got this combined profile, like the Ironclad, like 6 attacks, like damage 3. It's a lot of focused fire. Yeah, you'll kill the hero, but that's a lot of fire. Okay. Yeah, look, I don't think there's a bad one here.
I like it because they're all situational, and since we get to pick one just at the start of the game, so great. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to take the move because I need the move if you're like on the small deployments.
So for you, your number one would be the Tracer Fire that's like always on a boat. For me, I think it would always be the Cylinders. And then with the flagship, we can pick a second one to. And I think the interesting thing there as well is, and partially why I also think this might be combined, is that the flagship wouldn't work with the Sky Vessel upgrades. So they'll have to almost like unite them and word tweak them or something. So assuming that is true, then you might be able to take your second one as one of those three on the side of Soggy.
I will say, if you're playing a more melee focused, you're gonna always want to take the battle ram, because when it pops off, I had to do 9 mortal wounds to that 2-up save turtle thing that Seraphon have, and just killed it. I'm like, oh, well, that just happened.
Bastillodon?
Bastillodon, yeah.
So you tried to IDK turtle for a second. Cool. All right.
Don't remember what it is.
By the way, folks, what I've just said is my assumption. I don't know if it's going to be true, and I'm only assuming if I was to read the tea leaves of how Games Workshop handled this in the past. I may be wrong, but just I would assume you'll get 2 of these at most, probably not 3. Any final comments before we move on from the boat upgrades?
I'm just glad we got them.
They're all good. They're all good. It's just what you need them. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad they're back. Like, you only get like a couple of boats. They should have something special.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We are now at the time to talk about some new units. So we're going to talk about the 3 new War Scrolls plus our faction terrain and our not manifestations.
Not manifestations.
Yeah, they're not manifestations. I'm going to assume they are like manifestations when it comes to like how we interact with them. So let's talk about the terrain feature as well. Zontari, Endrin Dock. So it's cover, impassable, no move, 3-up save, health of 10, no ward, no control score. Get a couple of rules here. You get to release the Auto-Endrins, which is our not manifestations. And you get to, in the deployment phase, set up one of the 3, right? You get, there's a Nullifier, Auto-Endrin, the Stun Cloud, and the Grudge Blast. Now, you set them up on the battlefield within friendly territory, wholly within 6 inches of his terrain feature, more than 9 inches for all enemy units. You then have repair routines. So your hero phase, pick a friendly Sky Vessel unit within 3 inches, and then you make a repair roll. Add 1 to the roll if there is the friendly Endrin Master with dirigible suit or Endrin harness within 3. And then on 4-up, you'll heal 3 to the Sky Vessel. Finally, you get the Endrin Warp Outpost. So your hero phase, pick a friendly Auto-Endrin that has been removed from the battlefield, make a manufacturing roll of D6, add 1 to the roll if there is a friendly Endrin Master on dirigible suit or a Endrin harness within 3 inches of the terrain. On a 4-up, set up a replacement Auto-Endrin on the battlefield, wholly within 6 inches of the terrain, more than 3 from enemies. Each friendly Auto-Endrin can be replaced any number of times. So this is, again, like a manifestation, but not a manifestation. Without going into our Auto-Endrins, first and foremost, this is a free resource. What are your thoughts, Alex? Do we like it? Does it change your list construction, like now an Endrin Master of some capacity is auto-include?
No.
What opportunities start being created based on this new terrain feature?
Honestly, my biggest excitement for it is it's just going to be it's a huge screen, because you get 3 extra bodies that you get to play with and don't have to pay for, that can be replaced, that can stop deep strikes, teleports. And then honestly, they're all pretty good. Well, 2 out of 3 are going to be useful. I'm not sure about the control score one. I think that's more going to be stay in your backfield, stop a deep strike. But I like it because healing a boat, especially now that they have a 2-up save, 3 wounds is going to be very hard to chew through on its own for some armies. And that just healing 3 for just being next to it is awesome.
So Endrin Masters, I did say they went down 10 points. How much does that make them? Like 130 kind of thing?
I think so. The problem's going to be...
They're 150. Dirigible suit's 150. Sorry, I just want to clarify. Okay, so Endrin Master with Endrin Harness is 110 points right now. So that would make it 100 points for non-dirigible suit, or 140 with dirigible suit. So maybe the question is, would you pay, like Auric War Clans, do you pay 100-point tax in having a Endrin Master with harness sitting within range of the dock to bring the extra +1 to bringing back the Auto-Endrins and the +1 to the Sky Vessel? Obviously, we haven't seen the Endrins just yet, but what do you think about my comment? Would you pay 100 points for this hero?
I don't think so. I mean, I'd pay it for the hero, but not
for this specific use case. For this specific use case, be sitting back on the terrain feature like a priest on a on an altar, like a thing on a thing.
No, they're not impactful enough for you to justify. Like, you'd be better off paying 100 points in anything else if you're just going to sit it there. I'm not saying there's not edge cases. Obviously, there could be a case where it's very important, but all in all, this thing doing what it does on its own is amazing.
I agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly. I just wanted to clarify that for the folks who are thinking about this, because like in the world of, say, Cruel Boys, you could pay for a Hobgrot hero who's like 60 or 80 points, and that's a fair enough benefit to say, right, the cost benefit here is that's worth it for me. But for you with a 100-point not dirigibles, and like a harness, it's not worth it for this use case only.
Also, because if people know you're doing that, they can just shoot him. He can't get inside. He doesn't get cover. He's just going to get sniped.
Yeah, very, very fair comment. Obviously, you can hide behind it.
Right, but
heal is nice. More Auto-Endrins is nice. Anything else you comment on this particular point? I think, obviously, when we go to the Auto-Endrins, it'll then put the remaining color.
I just love one of the Endrins. It's just going to be so much fun just to yeet it in every time.
Some factions, I'm looking at you, OBR, often choose not to deploy their terrain feature. Is this something that you would be buying for your collection? And do you see a world where you're putting this down on the table most situations?
So every game. It is 100% every game. I played OBR. And the main reason you don't put it down is it's not guaranteed. And it takes up a whole heck of a lot of space. This does not. And you're guaranteed 3 right off the bat. So even if you never roll another 4 up, you're guaranteed those 3.
Agree wholeheartedly. Thank you for clarifying. Agreed. So we also have our Auto-Endrin. So this unit, as we said, does comprise of having the Nullifier Auto-Endrin, the Stun Cloud Auto-Endrin, and the Grudge Blast Auto-Endrin. They have a move of 12, a save of 4 up, no control, 5 health, ignore the plus. I don't know why I put plus there. It's 5 health and a ward, no ward. So there's a whole bunch of things, right? You can see these expendable munitions, which the following effect applies. So it has no control score. When this unit is destroyed or removed from the battlefield, it does not count as being destroyed for the purposes of other rules, such as scoring battle tactics. This unit cannot be picked to be the target of to be affected by a non-core ability used by other friendly units unless it specifically says Auto-Endrin. We talked right at the start of the video about some of the abilities now declaring Sky Vessel and or Auto-Endrin. And they ignore this unit for the purposes of friendly and enemy battle tactics. So again, kind of like a manifestation.
Yeah.
That's not a manifestation. You then have one unique ability for each of the 3. So the Nullifier, once per turn, any combat phase. If this unit is a Nullifier Auto-Endrin, each enemy manifestation in combat, make a banish roll of 3d6. Let me just triple check that. Make sure that wasn't a slip of the finger. Nope. It's not. It's not a slip of the finger. Make a banish roll of 3d6 for each target. If the banishment roll equals or exceeds the banishment value of the manifestation, it is banished and removed from play, and then the Nullifier is also removed from play. The Stun Cloud, once per turn, any combat phase. If this unit is a Stun Cloud, blah, blah, blah. Each enemy unit within combat to be the target. Roll a dice for each target, if the roll is equal to or lower than the unit's health characteristic. Subtract 10 from the control score of the target for the rest of the turn, then remove from the battlefield. And then finally, you got the Grudge Blast. So again, each enemy unit to be the target. Roll a d3 for each target. On a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage to the target equal to the roll, then remove from the battlefield.
Yep.
Talk to me.
Like I said, 2 out of 3 I'm excited for. The control score is going to be very specific if you're against monsters and stuff, because I don't have the book. Does it say to a minimum of 1 on the control score, or is it just subtract 10? That also
just control 10. Not literally,
So you could just make everybody on a point, not worth anything. So that's actually better. They're all situational. I think the biggest use is going to be screening and also going to be denying deep strikes, because we don't have a whole lot of bodies that we want to just leave back there. So now it's just be like, oh, I'm just going to poop this guy here and he can just sit here the rest of the game and deny you. Plus, It's really fun. They just blow up. I love the Grudge Blast. I'm just going to be sending that in all the time.
Yeah, look, one of the biggest weaknesses of KO has always been wizards, right? And, especially some of these high manifestation ones, like that nullifier is awesome. If you're not playing against a manifestation, cool. You can pop it in the backfield and, use it for screening or being annoying. But the 3d6 and triple checking it was a 3d6 as opposed to 2d6, consistently that means on average your banishment roll is 10. That removes every manifestation. You go hunt that Kronspine or that Fish Carnet, or go hunt down the Purple Sun or whatever it is that's annoying you or debuffing you. Consistently, you probably remove it.
Yes.
And then obviously the Grudge Bearer is just Grudge Blast is just auto amazing.
I can't wait to use the Stun Cloud on Giants, because that just sounds really fun.
If the roll is equal or lower than so that's an auto. That's auto, right?
It's an auto against. You just can't fail it against the Gargant. So yeah, you could just go in, reduce their control score by 10, and then you have a much better chance of stealing an objective from them.
Although we probably still keep the objective despite the 10. Sorry.
Fair, but it's funny.
But for things like, for example, your ogre Stonehorns, or like a 5 control score hero, cool. That really tanky hero is not doing squat.
Nope.
Free, good, we like it. Worth taking the terrain feature. Any final comments on this one? I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Honestly, my biggest plan is in some matchups to use it as a sacrifice. Just put it in front, so that way they have to charge those things, and it either gives me a chance, a counter charge, or to not be in combat.
Yeah,
because you can just bring him back on a 4-up.
Yes, and if you want to do the Endrin Master, get it on a 3-up, even better. So the 3 new other units there. So we've got the Null-Khemist. So you can read it on the screen, folks. I'll just call out a couple of key abilities. I mean, the shooting attack is nice. The fact that it's got 3d6 attacks is hilarious, and shoots in combat. It's only range 8, though, unfortunately, with the Null gas. 2 abilities worth calling out here. Move 12, save 3, control 2, health 8. Protection of the Void is a passive ability. While they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit, friendly Sky Fairy units have a ward of 5 up against mortal damage inflicted by spells, prayers, and manifestations. The other one being the Null Suit, which is a passive ability which doubles the damage characteristic of this unit's attacks that target a priest, wizard, or manifestation. I wonder what this thing is trying to achieve and who is going to hunt.
Wizards. I want to play with it, honestly, just for the 3d6 attacks, because hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s is just hilarious. Like, if you roll 18 attacks against any wizard or priest, you're probably killing them, unless they're like a big model. But even then, that's 2s and 4s, 2 rend, or 1 rend, 2 damage. I just can't wait to play with it. The protection of the void is very situational. So that's going to be the only thing.
Yeah. I was just triple checking. Like, I know I've got the color red to say the Null Suit. The wording is correct. Double the damage characteristic of this unit's attacks that target a priest, wizard, or manifestation.
Which also means you get into melee, it's 3s and 4s, 1 rend, 4 damage, which is even better.
Yeah, this is going to do some serious damage to... sorry, my dog stole my credit card. and we're starting to eat it. This is going to do some serious damage if you go hunt those down. And you know what? Most armies have a wizard or a priest. It's going to keep them honest. So you're going to be able to hunt them down, and if you use some boat shenanigans to get them into the backfield and go hunt them down, you watch your opponent run away, especially some of them that are very reliant on that wizard priest, like go hunt down my Crethusa, for example, and I would be scared. Like, please go away. I've got so many abilities riding on Crethusa, and that's just one example.
I can't wait. Like I said, it's situational. I'm not sure it'll stay in every list, but it's going to be super. First off, it looks amazing. I love the whole diver suit. I can't wait to get it on the table and see how it actually does.
It's a nice to have. It's definitely not an auto include. And by the way, 130 points at last time I knew the points on this. So if you're looking for context, is 130 points for the Null-Khemist.
I think if you're wanting to run this, you probably dedicate a gun hauler to this, because the gun haulers are the fastest moving boats. They can take it with them. And then because he's only got an 8-inch range, if you need like one specific hero dead, 130 points is not bad to waste.
No, not bad. And if it means your opponent then focuses on this while ignoring your boats and friends, then that's also a win.
Yes, it is.
Any final comments on the Null-Khemist? I think it's a nice to have. Definitely not an auto include. It's decent. It's fairly priced, but it's a specialist unit.
I would 100% say pick one up, because if the meta ever shifts to like where we had Croak Bomb or anything like that, he's going to be an auto include.
Yeah. There's a lot of priests out there as well.
That too.
So, like the fact that it does priest, wizards, and manifestations, really your only use case right now is sons who don't take the Gitz Regiment of Renown, which is not common, but like otherwise everyone has a wizard, priest, or manifestation, it seems.
Except KO.
Well, you're not picking the Null-Khemist for the mirror match.
You're just rolling a dice and moving on with your life.
You'd be unfortunate if the other KO player at your tournament was paired up against you. Second one, we have the Vongrim Harpoon Crew. So context here is, my understanding is the Harpoon Crew is 90 points for the unit. So you've got again, move of 12, health of 2, 4-up save. It has one ability, which is this light Endrin pack. So any combat phase, if this unit is in combat, it can move 2d6, but it must end that move in combat. And then there's a whole bunch of things, like you've got your weapons, which is a range of 12, attacks 2, 3/3, Ren 1, anti-monster. And then you've got your pioneer weapons.
I'm super excited for this unit. The damage output for shooting with a 5-man unit is 11 attacks, 10-man unit, 21 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2 rend against the monster, 1 damage. I've done a lot of work with 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage, so I'm going to contest that it doesn't matter. It's great. But my biggest thing is the 2d6 move. I'm going to use it. My whole goal is to use it defensively a lot, because that's going to screw over so many people, because it says you have to end in combat, but it doesn't say wholly within combat, and doesn't say you can't end in combat with something else either.
Yeah, so how are you thinking about using this ability? Because I imagine most people would see 2d6 move. Oh, I can get out of combat like a retreat. It's not that. It's really a reposition, an inconsistent reposition.
Yes.
So how are you thinking about this?
Honestly, it depends on what unit you're fighting. If you're fighting a monster, your best bet's just try to get out of dodge. But if you're fighting a big unit, I know like 5-10 mans, you can just nope out to one end and just stay with one model within 3, and it can completely screw their pile in, because you can just get like half your models out of combat. You could make them come off a point if they want to fight you, or if they charge you and you get like a 12, you could jump to somebody on a point behind them.
Yeah, so assuming this is not clarified later on to say that you can't enter a new combat, and that doesn't say it right now, so we're going to assume is as is. You could, with the right dice roll, get out of combat into a better position combat, or if you're in combat, and again, if you're in a unit, especially a large unit, you could use it to reposition and minimize the combat range, because you've got less units in, I guess, that 6-inch bubble by repositioning.
like I said, I think it would be fun as a 10-man, but my plan more to run it as a 5 and use it more defensively than anything, because I think this will be a great screen, because if they charge it with a bunch of stuff, you just nope out and then leave one thing in combat with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would tend to agree. I don't know if I would reinforce it personally, because then 90 turns to 180, and then like, what can I do with 180? And like, questions start getting asked. But for a 5-man who could go into a gun hauler without the upgrade, how about?
And it's also really cool because if you wanted to jump a screen, you can try. Like if you get a big number when you charge, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah, that works really nicely, right? If you did want to play that way, you would go the battle formation that gives you the free pre-game move.
Yep.
So you got 12 inches up the table. You then got a regular move for another 12 inches. And then you could be really aggressive with them. And then, yeah, even if you get hit with a screen because of a redeploy, you could then use the 2d6 potentially to then leap over the screen into something more that you want to pin or actually.
Honestly, what I'll probably end up doing with them is if they make the pregame moves that they're wanting to go first, just set up a big 12-inch move screen and then try to nope out. Because they're going to at least move 2 inches. So you can always be annoying. Even 2 inches can get some guys out of combat.
Yes.
And it's really fun is if they charge you and you roll a 12, you can be completely somewhere else. I love it.
Yeah. Obviously, like you roll a 2 and it's a bit sad.
Right.
Like that's where the lack of consistency comes in.
You're playing KO. We're a casino army.
Get out of here. I play destruction. That's the casino army. Bloody hell. The other side of this is the other Vongrims. This is the alternative build, the Salvagers. So some differences here. We've got the privateer pistols. So we don't have the anti-monster. This does shoot in combat. So the profile is doesn't have the peaks and troughs that the other one did. You do have the Vongrim Cutlass, which is more melee. So 3 attacks, force 3s, ren 1 for 1, crit 2 hits. It's pretty good on 3 attacks each. Then you have the Spotter's Flare Gun, which is any combat phase ability. Pick an objective within 9 inches of the unit to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 3-up, you get to apply the following effects. +1 to hit rolls for combat attacks made by friendly Skyfarer units that target a unit that is contesting that target objective. And add 1 to the Ren characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Vongrim Salvagers and Vongrim Harpoon crew units that target the unit that is contesting that target objective. Almost like the Seraphon, you got the 1-2 punch where you had like your little Raptidon type things. I actually prefer this. Like if I was only going to take one of the two, I like the Salvagers. By the way, the Salvagers are 10 more extra points. So from what I understand, they are 100 points for the unit. Go.
I'm 100% going to run a 10 block, at least try it out. And I think I'm going to switch out my, Sky Wardens for him, because I play a very aggro melee list. I say melee, still has a lot of guns. I'll miss the guns, but if you put him with Brock, that gives you, at a 10 block, gives you 41 attacks. You can either all out attack or get that. If you're on an objective and you get that, you're 3s and 3s, 2 rend, 1 damage with crit hits.
It's not a lot of attacks.
Just a little bit.
A lot of attacks. And it's funny because like no one in their right mind thinks a pre-game move plus this, the in your face top of turn 1. You could still go like 1-2 punch with the assault boat if you wanted to go into that kind of style with frigate and balloon boys, plus the salvages kind of going hand in hand.
Yep.
That's really aggressive. I guess the funny thing is like we're in a season where you don't have to take battle tactics in like we don't need to anymore. But if you want to play aggro,
I'm an aggro KO player, so that's why I said casino, because the game will be over turn 1 or turn 2, one way or the other, and I'm fine with it.
So given that we now know the war scrolls and the points for both the Harpoon crew and the Salvagers, all sitting around the 90 to 100 points right now, I guess my question is, do either of the Vongrims, first off, are they auto includes? Like, does every list start with a unit of Vongrims in some capacity?
I don't think so. Much as I want to say yes, I don't think so.
I agree. I think they're good. They're
yes.
A tier or B tier. Like they're definitely not bad.
But I just don't think they're a must include.
What type of list builds that are common in KO would not benefit from taking like the salvagers?
Any heavy shooting, you're not going to want to be in melee. Their shooting is not, it's honestly worse, or it's the same as the Arcanaut Company, except the Arcanaut Company has 1 or 2 better profiles, and I think they're almost the same price and you get 5 more. I think they're 10 less. I think they're 80 now.
Are you kind of competing with the Thunderers? Like that kind of slot?
Yeah. That's really what they're trying to compete. They're I would call them the melee Thunderers. That's basically the slot they're filling.
Yeah, because I would have compared them originally to like your Balloon Boys, but they're now a 3-up save. So comparing 3-up save to 4-up save is very different. Yeah. Obviously, you get more bodies, less bodies, and things like that. So I think there's some interesting mechanics, and I think they're starting to break up like what Balloon Boys do versus what Vongrims do, and you get more bodies, more. Yeah.
I'm definitely excited for them, but they're not an auto include.
Yeah, look, if I was a KO player, I'd definitely buy at least 1 box for my collection. I'd probably, to your point, reinforce them. I'd buy 2. But I definitely wouldn't be like trying to force it into my list because they're just so good.
I will say, if you're going to run these, I'd say almost have to run them as a 10 block. Because
did you say that of both of them, like the Harpoon Crew and the
Salvagers are better 5. The Salvagers are better 10. The Salvagers are basically like hit and run, or not Salvagers. The Harpoon Crew are hit and run, and they're going to be really good screens. They're hard to pin down. But these guys, you're going to want all in because you're going to have to all out attack them if you want to kill anything. And I can tell you playing KO, the Balloon Boys with a 4-up save, if you all out attack, they will die to a stiff breeze.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't see a lot of value in a 5-unit, like 5 model salvages. I think if I'm taking salvages, I am taking 10. Which is because you're playing your volume game off the cutlasses. You're really, really leaning into the crit 2 hits. Yeah. Like that's a lot. Like you should get 1 for every 2 models in the unit.
And like I said, if you run Brock, it just all of a sudden you have 41 attacks, 3s and 3s, maybe 2 rend. Even at 1 rend, I mean, Stormcast will probably be saving on 3s or 2s because they're Stormcast. But if you go into like Ogres or something, they're just going to die because they have a 5-up save.
Yeah, and the changes at light defense do
yes,
make
that was the best thing for us.
All right. Any final comments before we get into the armies of renowned? Cool. All right. So we're on track. We're okay. There are 2 new armies of renowned. For folks who are unfamiliar with armies of renowned are a different way of building your KO. You will trade your artifacts, your command traits, your things that we've just spoken about for a new set of armies of renowned, and you have to build an army based within these constraints. So there are 2 of them. They are optional, and we'll go through some of them, and I'll get Alex's thoughts on do we like them and are they competitive. Normally they're not. Like normally they're like 2-3 or 3-2 type armies, and sometimes you do get they are absolutely fun. There's some absolutely hilarious rules. Sometimes they do break the mold and they are very strong, but the context here is that they're not usually the most competitive. But let's see how KO go. First and foremost, we have the Pioneer Outpost. So when you pick a KO army and you pick the Pioneer Outpost, everyone needs to meet within this restriction. And designer note that's unique to this particular one is it says the Army of Renown has designed with the Zonzari Endrin dock. So you should take it. Like
you have to take
it's like it's the first time I've ever seen an Army of Renown nudge nudge wink wink you to bring the thing. So
it is very cool.
It's a nudge nudge wink wink. Cool. What do you get? So first, how do you build the list? You've got to have an Arcanaut Admiral. You've got to have Etheric. Now, sorry. You don't have to. You can choose. So you can choose Archanaut Admiral, you can choose Etheric Navigator, you can choose your Endrin Master with Endrin Harness. Specifically, it doesn't call out dirigible suit, just Endrin Harness. Any KO infantry units, and you can take Grunstock gun haulers. You can't include any regiments of renown. And notice it says none of the other boats, just your Grunstock gun hauler. What do you get? So there's two sets of rules. First here, you've got the initial investment where each friendly Auto-Endrin can move 2d6 but can't move in combat. Then you have these rules where you've got settling accounts, aggressive acquisitions, and secure investments. I'm not going to read it out. I'll be here till Christmas.
Right.
Like, I'm happy to read them out, but we're here forever. Feel free to read them on the screen. Pause it for a second. Initial thoughts so far, you can see here, some things interacting with the Pioneers and the Auto-Endrin, and then also your Zonzari Endrin dock.
Honestly, I think this list, well, not super meta, but if you're going into like a teams event, I think this list because you could easily turn one aggressive acquisitions, you could shut off a lot of armies that require teleports or just dropping because you have a 12-inch move unit. Most of the time you're 9 inches away from their quarter. All you got to do is move up with any of your infantry because it says any infantry we can take. So, and boom, they can't drop within 9 of you or an objective you control, which means no more dropping on an objective. You can leave it safely, which I don't like Stormcast for that reason. And what other army was I fighting? Gosh, I don't remember. Skaven, Nullholes. The Nullholes.
Well, I've got an army to hold your beer. So I was playing the new IDK recently and using the new Daughters of Cain Blood Shrine, where it can basically stop you from deploying within 12, was a godsend with IDK, especially now that you can have like the Tide. They can cast a spell to me in the backfield, then they can take a battle formation to take 2 in the backfield. Like, insane. Like, you can stop to your points and really interesting. Like, Gargants can pop up the little anyway.
It's just awesome because, like, okay, you just like turn one if you go first, they just physically cannot set up in your territory or within 9 of an objective. So that means if you're on one of the ones where it's 3 in the middle, you could basically they're stuck deploying until they take the objectives from you in their own territory.
That's good. Like settling accounts, like that's nice. The Auto-Endrins will do D3 damage as a little blast before it's removed. That's cool. And you've got the aggressive acquisition, obviously being shut off, being set up within 9, really good. Secure investments for the rest of the battle. Ignore the Ren characteristic of combat attacks that target friendly non-infantry pioneer units or friendly faction terrain. It's nice.
It's honestly, if you're going to play this, I'd say you play aggressively with your thing and you put it up there so they get into it and just try to kill it. Honestly, you could also try to kill them with an Overwatch because it doesn't say you can't. It just says once per turn, end of any, or once per turn army, end of any turn. So if they got near it with the move and you shot them,
yes.
Like I said, I think this would do very well at a teams event, depending on your matchup. Like you said, Idoneth or anything where you can specifically control, hey, you can't jump here. But all in all, I don't think it's going to be an auto meta pick.
No, agreed. By the way, this is not just what you get. You get more rules. Yay, rules. You get 2 additional battle traits, so hostile takeover and secure investments. No, that you should say market dominance, and I'll change very quickly and pretend it didn't happen. So what you get is hostile takeover. Again, you can read the conditions. For the rest of the battle round, subtract 1 from hit rolls for shooting attacks that target pioneers. And then I just didn't put stuff that up. So basically what I will pretend that says there is you can only use this ability if you have not used a code ability this turn, and if you control every objective that is not wholly within enemy territory. For the rest of the battle, and I'm going to touch this out in a second, each time you use your Zonzari Endrin dock, Endrin Works Outpost ability, you can set up a replacement Auto-Endrin on the manufacturing roll of a 3-up rather than a 4-up. So that's what the rules are. And then you can see here the heroic traits and artifacts. So while I pretend that I just wrote that down on screen, I'm going to pass it to Alex to say, what are your additional thoughts here?
I know we talked about it earlier. I think if you take this and you want to play it, you have to bring at least one of the Endrin riggers, not Endrin riggers, the heroes, because you want to give it the Endrin Outpost enhancement, and it'll just because it do an extra D3 mortals, I think it said, so you can just make all of them explode on people, and it's going to be awesome. You muted yourself.
No, I muted myself while I was trying to type, but in the process, I decided to mess with the layout so you guys didn't hear the typing. Yeah, this is hilarious. The Auto-Endrin has definitely done V3 damage to me. What about the heroic traits and the artifacts? Let me stall for a second. Let me type.
Copper Fingers is your go-to on this one. 100%. Take it. You're going to want it because this whole sub-faction is built around them, especially with them blowing up. I know only one of them officially blows up, but if you send them into combat and they kill it, it's still removed. And then it's an extra D3 mortals. And then you just keep pooping them out because you can. I know this is only a once per battle, but again, I just don't like the -3 control score.
So overall, while I just write out the effects, what are your thoughts on the Pioneer Outpost? So I'm hearing right now, solid, 3-2, 2-3 type thing. Good if you are picking your battles for...
Yes. If the meta becomes teleport reliant, I think this army soars. And I plan to play this. It sounds really fun. I think it'll be really good into Skaven, honestly. If you can get that turn 1, just boom, you can't drop here. That stops Skitter Leap. It stops Gnaw Holes. And it's just huge. And I will say the artifact is a pick your poison.
Stall me for like 30 more seconds. Anytime quirks can set.
I think Blockbuster charges would be the best, honestly, over Thorgerson's Universal, because you're going to want to spread them out. But I do plan to play this one at least once. I think it's going to be fun just to be like, yeah, no, you can't drop here or here. And then suicide drones.
Cool. You've stalled enough. Thank you for your time. You can see now the real rules here. Ignore the spelling mistakes that might be there. Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate your thing and see this in real time. Second Army of Renown is going to be the Magnate's Crew. Again, very similar. You sacrifice all those rules and you gain your Magnate Crew. How do you build a Magnate Crew? You've got your roster options of Brock. Brock is got you don't have to have it. Sometimes they will say like must be in the list or must be general. Not in this particular situation. Nope, definitely not. You've got your Endrin Master with dirigible suit. You've got your Null-Khemist. You've got your Ironclad, your Frigate, your Gun Hauler, your Salvagers, your Harpoon Crew, your Sky Wardens, your Endrin Riggers, and you can't include a Regiment of Renown or faction terrains. This specifically says you cannot have your faction terrains. This is a very balloon boy or girl focused faction. What do you get for this? You got loyalty to the Magnate. So while a friendly Brock Grunson is wholly within combat range of another Magnate Crew infantry, by the way, everyone gains Magnate Crew as the keyword. Both of the units will have a 5-up ward. Pay your debts once per battle. You declare an Endrin Works outpost. What? That wouldn't be right.
Yeah, that's why I was confused, because it says you have to do that, but then you can't bring the faction.
Oh, no, that's that. No, ignore me. That is another mistake. It'll say pick an enemy unit on the battlefield or to be in reserve. Oh yeah, cool. That one's a mistake on my behalf.
Okay.
That definitely doesn't make any sense.
I was like,
no, this is a once per battle army deployment phase. Then the rest makes sense. So pick an enemy unit on the battlefield to be reserved, to be indebted. Yes.
You fixed the deployment. There you go.
Yeah. Real time here. So pay your debts once per battle army deployment phase. Pick an enemy unit on the battlefield or in reserve to be indebted. Add 1 to the wound rolls for combat attacks made by friendly Magnate Crew units that target that indebted unit. Then we have some extra units here. We got those rules here. You got bold moves once per battle. Your movement phase, read it. It's a big block of text. It's basically replacing a core move. And then you've got cutting edge Endrin packs, where pick up to D3 friendly magnet crew infantry units that are wholly within 9 inches of a sky vessel, then double the target's movement characteristic for the rest of the turn. All right. A lot of typing. My throat is getting sore. Thoughts so far on the magnet crew?
It sounds fun, but I see no reason to run it over the base detachment. Like, the only thing that it really gives is you have to take Barak and you get a ward. Because, I mean, this can double moves once per turn, but you could also just pre-game move, which is almost the same.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
Yeah.
Pre-game move gives you the really aggressive build at the start, while doubling the move throughout the game obviously gives you a lot of benefits. I see where you're going with it.
Well, the problem is you have to be within 9 of a boat. So at that point, if you spread out late game and everything's scattered, you have to be near a boat to get the buff.
Yeah, completely understood. Just rereading the bold moves. Each target can move a distance up to the value of its emergency launch roll. It can move through combat ranges. Okay, that's interesting. Bold moves. Pick any number of friendly magnet crew infantry units that are in combat. Make an emergency launch roll of 3d6 for the target. Each target can move a distance up to the value of the emergency launch roll. It can move through combat ranges of enemy units, but it cannot end the move in combat with the enemy unit that was not in combat to start with. So you can't like old Murderlust into a unit that you weren't already in combat. The target cannot use charge abilities for the rest of the turn, given that you've moved within combat.
But you still get to shoot.
Yeah, and it's a once per. It's definitely a once per battle ability. So some interesting things here. I think I probably tend to agree that, like, why would I take this over my generic faction stuff? But for the balloon lovers out there, and you just want to go balloons and boats, it's not bad. Probably 2-3-3-2, probably 2-3 army. Like, it's probably a 2-3 army if I'm being brutally honest. But some very techie people might actually really enjoy some of those shenanigans. Unfortunately, the bold moves is like a once per battle thing. It's like if that was a once per turn thing, like that's
totally different.
Yeah. Anything else? I'm gonna go down the slide as well.
I think this is just the battle traits and the stuff.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of other things as well. So, like you've got, what do you got? You got this Magnet Crew Sky Vessel ability, because you don't get your engine works. That's the interesting thing as well, right? I don't know what that will mean, though, with the Sky Vessel upgrades. If Sky Vessel upgrades become engine works, then you still can't even bypass this to get that rule. If they keep it independent somehow, then I guess you probably can put a soggy Sky Vessel upgrade on one of your boats in here because it's bypassing engine works. I'm assuming that doesn't exist. This is the world we live in. But anyway, you roll D3 for the rest of the turn, subtract X from the rent characteristic. That's really nice. Obviously, X is what you rolled for the dice. Constant barrage once per turn. Your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit that has any damage points allocated to it by friendly magnet crew. Till the start of your next turn, each time a target ends a move within 10 inches of a friendly magnet crew, roll a D3 on a 2-up, inflict some damage. Then you've got 2 options of the heroic traits and 2 options for the artifacts.
I will say the constant barrage is fun, but I just think you lose too many toys.
The heroic trait of re-rolling a redeploy when you're wholly within 12 on the infantry is not bad. Again, given if you're building into boats, building into balloon boys or balloon girls if you're using the harpoon crew and things like that. Flanking fire actually isn't bad as well. Adding 1 to your grit rolls for shooting attacks made by your vessels that target an enemy unit that's in combat. So again, there's a lot of interesting rules here. I think I'm kind of pushing poop uphill. Like some interesting stuff here. It's certainly going to appease certain people.
It's definitely think this will be fun to play with. I'm not saying
Oh yeah, gosh, yeah. This will be fun as all hell, and it'll bring completely different play style and completely different rules. And I love the ward to Brock, but I don't think Brock's like worth going all in on.
Honestly, if you're not running an assault boat list, Brock is not worth it. So I think with this, you'd have to run him with assault boat. But the problem again is everyone has to be wholly around Brock, so you can't run like a 10-man unit. Or, I mean, I guess you might be able to make it work, but it's going to be tight.
Certainly going to be interesting. All right, I think I talked a lot. I've talked enough, Alex. And for the people who have lasted this long, I'm going to give you a special gift. And there is two regiments of renowned, not armies of renown. So if you do play other order armies and you want to bring some of your boats over, there's Drekki Privateers. There is the Skyport Profiteers, so you can bring some KO flavor to your army. There's obviously also Spearheads. There's also still really cool art. I showed you some of the art, Alex, and I know you were frothing at the mouth. There's also Path to Glory as well. So folks who play Path to Glory, clearly not going to talk about here. That's not really the focus of this channel, but there's a lot of good stuff in this book. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, an hour and 45 minutes. You've worked through some of my typing mistakes. Again, that's what's going to happen, folks, where you're comparing two books at the same time. Sometimes mistakes do happen when you have to literally retype battle tomes. Be easier if I just put screenshots up, but that's not how we work here.
You also just came off of doing an entire another book.
Oh yeah, this stupid bloody. Too many books. Anyway, this is not to complain me, sympathize with me. By the way, if you're buying your books, down below, Element Games, Warfire Minis, or Gap, would appreciate the support. To bring this home, we've had an hour and 45 minutes, added incredible value, Alex. You've shared so many thoughts, so many wisdoms. Any final reflections or closing comments for KO? I certainly have a few that I'll share with you all, but I want to give you the right of reply.
I think we're going to have to, like most KO players that play it a lot, we're going to have to rethink a couple things and basically change the way we play. Because I've gone through multiple editions, and every edition, it's basically a new army. Same models, new rules. So I think that, but they've given us a lot of fun tools. But I think it's going to be a very techie army. It's ours to lose is what I'm going to like to call it. It's going to be some learning curve.
Yeah, and I think the one lesson that I'll really reinforce that you mentioned is you've lost your get out of jail free card. And I think that is going to take some practice and some time and some deliberate movement, and you're going to have to think like, right, when I bring my boats in, I'm going to guarantee myself 9-inch gap, because that's going to put me in this. It might not be 9 inches. I'm flicking a number out of the sky, but it could be like, I need to know, like, in order for me to protect myself best as possible to get the most shots in from my units or boats, this is the type of ranges that I'm going to be practicing with, so that the counter charge is really hard. The redeploy, even if I roll a 1, is going to get me out of like threat range, or without the get out of jail free card of like, power through or whatever it might be. Like, what is it that I need to do to keep myself safe? I mean, on one hand, the +1 save on the boats is really good.
Very good.
But I think at the same time, if you listen to the undertone of my guest, Alex is really high on infantry. And I think we've seen some really good stuff from like your Harpoon crew. Your Arco company is obviously like our favorite unit from this review. I think we both agree Arco companies are great. And, we probably have one unit of reinforced at least in an army. Definitely could see a world where you have multiple units, but like I would probably have at least one unit of reinforced Arcos. And the terrain does some interesting things for us too. Definitely not auto include. Definitely not going to be crazy good, but it's good.
One thing I was super worried about with the terrain was we're limited on characters anyway. Like, we have a bunch, but you can't run all of them. So I was afraid it'd be something like corn or something where you have to sit someone on it. Like, well, that just means I'm paying extra points, but no, it just gets to work for free. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, and I guess the question as well, like and I'd be curious in Discord when we get into the weeds of all this, is I asked you the question, would you take an Endrin Master on harness, with harness, just to be in the backfield for the +1 to the heal and the +1. Well, you said no, and I partially agree, but I'd love to see what other people are thinking and how they start working it out. And like, because on one hand, healing automatically is great, but in turn 1, probably I'm not going to be attacked to begin with. So like by turn 1 and turn 2, my boat's moved away. I'm out of range of the terrain feature. So actually, is there a benefit? Am I flying it back and using some movement to get back into heal range? Or like, what's the combinations and how it actually works? I think you guys are going to practice and bring some good ideas. I probably tend to agree, but I'm sure someone smart's going to say, this is the combination. And like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Right. I just honestly don't think you're going to be healing boats much. It's going to be extra because the boats really don't come back much. Like, because if the injured dock moved, it'd be one thing, but it doesn't move, so you basically have to come back.
That's what I was thinking. And like, I'm like, how does this actually work? Because turn 1, I don't see a world where it's taking much damage. Like, there's very few long-range threats. Yes, catapults and things like that, but shooting has been reduced so much that your boat's probably not going to take damage. And then by the time it has taken damage, it's moved on. And it's not like your boat, I need to see how it all plays out. Alex, is there anyone you want to say hello to? Any wrap-up, final comments, friends of the channel, like who is Shannon up to in the Great Plains?
Everybody. They're all great. I love most of them. People that I don't, who you are. But all jokes aside, they're all great players, great guys, great to play with them, and I can't wait to go to the Great Plains with them.
Well, it was great. That was great. Alex, thank you so much for the chat. Folks, I hope you enjoyed it again. We did preview this as best as possible. Thank you for the couple of slip-ups that we caught in real time. Better than catching it towards the end. But yeah, hope this helps you on your discovery. As always, there's still a few question marks we've had about the book, some certainly interactions. Key example is Endrin Works versus Sky Vessel. I think there's some guesstimations that we've made. We talked a little bit about how the reducing 1 dice would work in real time. That's our assumption. That's how we think it works, but no doubt there'll be some type of clarity in the near future. Thank you for listening. Hope you found this valuable, and come in Discord, come chat and share your thoughts and opinions, and let's all talk KO. Let's talk about all the cool stuff, because you got a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Oh, we did. We got a bunch of new toys.
Right. I'm not going to let you talk again, because we'll just go back in a rabbit hole.
You're not wrong.
There'll be part 2. It'll be part 2. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for hanging around until the end. I hope you enjoyed that video and you walked away with a few new ideas. Now, if you did, I would love it if you pressed like on the video, as well as left me a comment with your thoughts. The conversation will continue over on Discord, and the link is down below in the episode description. I also want to give a massive shout out to the AoS Coach patrons and YouTube members who are supporting the channel and the growth that you're seeing here. So cheers, you are all bloody legends. And until next time, don't roll a double 1 on a spellcast.